As entrepreneurs, we want to make a huge difference in the world. Some of us do. I have a remarkable entrepreneur who's taken really her purpose, her mission in life, and refined it over the last 25 years and is making a huge dent. And there are a lot of lessons that she's learned along the way as she built a very successful interior design business that are so applicable for all of us. And I've known this individual for several years now. We both are in, I think, 3 mastermind groups together, at least 2 for sure. And we are, we spend a lot of time together, and she's one of those individuals that I really has tremendous insights that are so pragmatic, they're actionable, and most importantly, they get results. If you want to accelerate your success, you do not want to miss. Lisa Cini is going to be great. I'm John Bowen. You're at Accelerating Entrepreneurial Success. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
Ordinary success? No way. You want amazing, remarkable, exceptional breakthroughs. Dig deep. Think bold, drive hard, watch yourself soar beyond your dreams. AESNation.com.
Lisa, I am so excited to be with you here. Most of the time, this is the first time I think I've been with you virtually. We've always been together, and you are such a global player. I know you just got back from Croatia, and you were able to make time to share some of your really valuable insights. So again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, John. I'm excited.
Well, Lisa, we talk all the time about, how can we really create more value for our clients? And, one of the things, you and I are big believers in the free market systems. As we create more value, we do well by doing good by others. And you have led a life of that. And before we kind of dive into some of the life lessons that I want you to share with your fellow entrepreneurs, what I'd love to do is just get the backstory of how you got to where you are today.
Well, I started out, went to school for design and was following my passion. And then through various different jobs, ended up as director of design, and then the company was sold and went public. And I had 2 wonderful mentors that were males that told me I should start my own company. And that was about 18 years ago. And in that, I have done everything from military bases to high-level acute care nuke med units, and then settled in on senior living, which has just kind of, how you don't really think you're going to end up someplace, but it ended up being my passion. So that's where I'm at right now. We work all over the world and get to bring better solutions to seniors, and now it's kind of a hot topic on everybody's mind.
Well, I know one of the things you and I talk a lot about is this whole concept of human longevity. In all the mastermind groups, one of the goals, I don't know about you, Lisa, but for me is I do want, we've got a mutual friend, Peter Diamandis, and he has his mastermind group, Abundance 360, that we're in. And one of the things, his big belief in human longevity with his partners, he's got a company, Human Longevity, is that we can live to 100 in a high quality of life. And as we're doing this and we're pushing the envelope, one of the things is, how we're going to live is changing. And you've really taken this as a passion, a call to action to address this.
I have, and I think part of it is my family has longevity. My one set of grandparents lived to 99 and 100. I have my grandmother right now and my parents living with me, and she's 94. So, I don't see losing them anytime soon. So I have a high initiative or a vested interest in trying to figure out how to make them have the best quality of life and get them taken care of, because if they're living better, I'm living better.
Well, this is what the one thing, this is where I think this, if we think of aging, I'm going to just say as a disease, this is the one thing that everybody watching and listening to this podcast, we're all getting. And we would like to, to the extent possible, really improve it. And as you've built, really designing and helping to facilitate higher quality living facilities. I mean, all of us have visions. I can still remember as a young child, I did a magic show, and I went to the local nursing homes, and I would do the show, and really the way they were set up, it was very depressing. And I do my little piece to try to put a little kind of entertainment, as entertaining as I could be at that time. And it's just and I see there's improvements coming, and I'm sure you're one of the people driving it, but how is it being responded to the industry? I just want to get that background, because this is something all of us care about, because either we have elderly parents, or we have friends have elderly parents, or some of the younger entrepreneurs have maybe elderly grandparents that we're concerned with.
So I was shocked in being at some of the same mastermind groups as you, and Abundance 360, and learning about all the technology that was out there, and how my industry, and America really leads this, was acting like none of it existed. So they're still building homes that they're calling state of the art, that would be like the 1920s, when a lot of the houses didn't have indoor plumbing or electricity. And yet we could be going so much further. The Japanese and the Danish are doing incredible things. Germany is doing incredible things. Spain is doing incredible things. And they're using technology. So I took on the initiative to say, what can we do, from induction looping technology to exoskeletons to data mining and artificial intelligence, and wrote a book on it. And it was really industry specific, but I'm finding that people are buying it that are just baby boomers. And they're saying, I got to figure this out. My dad is, in this, or I don't want him to live with me, but I want him to be happy, those kinds of things. So they don't want to end up in the situation of the status quo. So it's a really, it's a shot across the bow. And now I'm living in a social experiment, with my parents and my grandmother, and we're going to be doing a documentary on that. And I'm experimenting on them all the time. So
how do they feel about this, Lisa?
It's interesting. At first, it's always kind of what are you having us doing? And, I have an Italian family, so they, my dad will use some choice words and tell me he's not going to do it, and we work through it. And afterwards, he's like, you better not take that away from me. And it might be anything from a bidet toilet to a camera we put on grandma, to lighting that might be automatic, or some smart technology like the Alexa or on the refrigerator. So we're trialing out everything, and now they're kind of getting into it. They're excited, as to what's going to come down the road. My mother, who's 76, recently got on Snapchat.
No,
it's amazing.
It really is. I mean, I just got my dad on Alexa, or got him an Alexa, and he's a little upset with me, though. He likes, the newsflash and a few other features it's doing and so on. But my stepmother loves opera, and she's found out with Prime Music she can play almost any opera, and he's tired of hearing all these operas all the time. So, so technology can be dangerous. You got to be careful here.
You do. You have to. You have to be you have to be careful, and you have to figure out. But if Mama's happy, everybody's happy.
Well, and the thing that I love, Lisa, what you're doing, and I want to go really kind of license or lessons learned, kind of key takeaways from your career. And I'm gonna name the first one, because I know this is an important one to you and I. But it's the lifelong learning. And, so many people kind of, read a book every once in a while and all that. You and I are showing up, and we got really busy schedules. We've got successful businesses, and and we've got families and everything else. So we're showing up at these events. And, I'd love you to share kind of why you do it. And then, the book's an example, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but, you actually go and execute off this stuff too, because, so many people kind of go, well, I'll just go and nothing really happens. And that's not the case for you.
No, when I first started the business, I wasn't in any kind of coaching group or accountability group. And then I got invited into one, and it happened to be WPO, which is Women's President. And then I got into EO. And then I heard about Strategic Coach. and 25K, and then it went onward. And it seemed like each group was getting to be a higher and higher level. And I found a couple things. Is one, I was a better manager, I was a better wife, I was a better mother, I was a better designer from having experienced all these other folks. And my world was opened up, just like when you travel. So all
Hmm.
the different industries kind of cross pollinate, and I was able to learn things that I was able to bring back, and I was able to talk on a more intelligent level, relate more to other folks, and then really hold myself accountable. So, I'm just one of those people that I want to get an A. So every time I come back every quarter, I want to have done what I did, checked off the list before. And I think that's a little bit of the driver, but also being around people that are growth oriented, it's iron sharpens iron. And you have to be willing to coach and be coached. I think I love that professional athletes, they still get coached. You would think that the top athletes in the world wouldn't need a coach on the sideline. And I've been watching soccer lately and the Cavs, and they all have coaches on the sideline. And yet, as entrepreneurs, I think we forget that.
Well, and the other thing that I find that I know you and I have had many side conversations, and you kind of mentioned it, but it's that sometimes, I mean, we're both pretty successful and all that stuff, and all of a sudden somebody will share a story, and it's like, wow. And
Yeah.
and we've gone out drinking with him, having dinner and that type of thing, and he's not that smart or she's not that smart, and if they can do that, and what it does is you're hanging out in a crowd of very like-minded people that really want to make a difference. And we're doing that kind of on our podcast and the other things with AAS Nation, but there's just that dynamic of getting together that's pretty amazing.
I think you put it perfectly. I mean, I don't think I wanted to say that, but since you put it out there, I think I gained so much confidence by knowing and going to dinner with people I considered my friends, but I considered them my equal, or maybe, hey, I can hang in that conversation. And when they would do things that were greater, I'm like, well, I could do that. If they could do that, I surely could do that. So it helped me to get over the hump of maybe some insecurity or thinking I didn't have enough time. I had one person say to me one time, well, how much TV do you watch, when I said I didn't have enough time?
Yeah, yeah, no.
And I did the calculation, and I'm like, oh, well, if I cut out an hour of TV a night and put it towards writing a book, where would I be a year from now?
No, well, you'd be where you are now.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a very great, yeah, it was a wonderful lesson.
And this is where, one of the things is entrepreneurs. So often we have friends and family that aren't entrepreneurs. And I don't know how your situation is, but mine, I have a lot of friends that are not entrepreneurs here locally, and family members that aren't. And then, they think I'm a little weird. I'm wired wrong. But, when I hang out in a mastermind in this learning environment, it's amazing. But let me go. One of the things that's always impressed me, because, in your area, and it's kind of like for all of us as entrepreneurs, is you have more success. There's just so many opportunities in so many different areas. And Lisa, I always think of you as very pragmatic, very focused, and you're clear on your mission. And how has that been important? What would you recommend to your fellow entrepreneurs?
Well, I think when you're clear on your mission and you stay in your lane, or your unique ability. I think entrepreneurs have a tendency to be a little ADD and jumping all over the place. But if you really stay in your lane and your unique ability and follow that, I look at it as mining the mine. So I might have went in for gold, and I've got the gold, but I've already got the structure. So now why don't I look for emeralds or something else that's in the mine, because I've already built the structure before I pull out and I get, some sparkly thing over on another mine that I've got to start all over with. And at the beginning, I kind of was doing that. And then I'm like, you know what? I can get a lot more out of this, and a lot more value if I stay in my lane. And I found that my creativity and my unique ability had little to do with the actual work that I was doing. It was providing clarity to the team. It was helping others and meeting their mission versus maybe one particular sector.
Well, and it's in what, I think you're saying, I want to be clear about this, is that what happens, at least what I've found is, you call it staying in your lane, and it's that, be clear on your mission, that as you really dive deep, in a niche, all these other opportunities. I mean, Dan Sullivan, our mutual friend from Strategic Coach, I think he calls it strategic byproducts. That you're just so deep in it, and you're kind of doing all the stuff, and you could go chase this next opportunity that sounds really good, or you can kind of wait to see what the marketplace, what your community, your tribe, the group that you're hanging out with, really what they're going to need. And so often you're so uniquely positioned to serve them in that.
Exactly. So, one thing is we started out as designers. And then we found that when all the departments were cut all over the country, that they really needed project managers. So we became certified in project management and started doing that and working with the military. Then we found that all the financial analysts had kind of went up by the buy side. So we started doing pro forma development. Is it design? No, it's all related to design and it's all supportive, but it's still staying in our lane and we're experts in it. And I have to say that the revenue and profit margins we get from the strategic byproducts are much higher than what we initially started with from the design side.
But I'll tell you, I see this all the time, and in my business too. There's just so many opportunities, but as long as I stay within, really the marketplace that we're serving, it just makes a big difference. And the part that what I love it's kind of crazy is oftentimes those strategic byproducts have higher margins, which is really good, as you said. The other thing that it does, and I know it's done this for you, is what everybody's talking about is differentiate yourself. And I don't know how many interior design firms there are, but my guess is there's a lot. And what happens is, you try to make yourself distinctive. And one of the ways of doing this is you're providing more and more turnkey service that are just going to really take care of the client in all the areas they need. And yeah, they could go get a project manager, they can go do the interior design, they can do this, or they can come to Lisa in your group and it's done.
Correct. And, I think understanding, especially with all of the think tanks and mastermind groups that we're in, is that one of the largest values that we can provide our customers in any field is reducing the amount of noise and providing them with trusted solutions. So I don't like to go to the grocery store, because there's too many choices. It wastes too much of my time. I just want a good meal.
Yeah.
So, I prefer to go to a restaurant now. My clients kind of feel the same way. They want a good meal. They really don't care how it was prepared, where the vegetables came from, who hired the cooks, how much the oven costs. They just want the end result. And if I can take all the rest of that away from them, then they're happy. And then it allows them to focus on their core mission.
Well, and it's so often, I'm thinking of another friend of ours, Lisa Savovich. She talks about, and she has some research she's done and pulled together, aggregated, and I think it's so important for us as entrepreneurs. We get so caught up in our processes and so on, and we all want to talk about our processes. And both Lisas here are talking about really all the clients or our customers care about are results. They want to get there, whether it's dinner, whether it's, senior living, a complete design, whatever it is you do, they want the results. I mean, it's about 90% of what your messaging should be is on the results and about 10% on the process. But by having this rich result, you create so much value, Lisa. I mean, that's what's so impressive.
Well, thanks. I mean, you kind of have to just figure out that, if you were in that position, how would you want it to be handled? And we always talk about that. But it is totally about the result. So, if it comes out at the wrong time or too late or whatever the case is, if the wedding dress doesn't show up when you're ready to get married, it doesn't matter how beautiful it was. And if we can put it into those type of analogies, and then I think part of the process and your products is to coach your clients on trusting you. And that helps. But they still, when it comes down to it, it's about the results and giving them more value than they think they paid for.
Well, and to do that, one of the things that I like, Lisa, that you've done, and we hang out with all these individuals. I mean, the fellow entrepreneurs that are very successful, and the different mastermind groups we're in, and a number of them, particularly Peter's group, Peter Diamandis' Abundance 360. I mean, they talk about technology as about 80% of it, and then in Joe Polish's Genius Network, they're talking about all the different tools for the internet and this software and that, and even in Strategic Coach Dan Sullivan's, there's a lot of talk because technology is a great facilitator, but one of the things that you really focus on is simple technology, and maybe you could share with your peers what that means.
Sure. I look at technology as I always look at what the kids are using, because the kids are a deciding factor. They really don't care that IBM developed it or Apple developed it or who developed it. It's whether it works or it doesn't work. So I will find out that there is a way to, Skype that's different. For instance, my son is in Canada playing semi-pro soccer. My daughter is in Rome studying archaeology. I travel. My husband was at a different location. How do we have our family meeting every week? Well, my son's like, oh, there's a new software called Ovu, and it's free. So we can all foresee each other. Now, I guarantee you, in 6 months, everybody's going to know about that. But we're already using it. I remember years and years ago when I started the business, I couldn't figure out how to find something. And this 9-year-old kid on the street said, you ought to Google it. And I said, Google? That sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And he goes, no, just trust me. And I said, well, how do you spell it? And I went and I Googled it. So I find that kids really adapt, and they're able to maneuver through and find the technology and take hold of it and make it incredibly valuable quickly. Just like my mother is now Snapchatting. So, all of those kind of messaging and then how people react to it, I think we really have to watch. We try not to pay big software fees and get too locked into things because technology is changing too fast, I think, to get so stuck in one way of doing something.
I'm always amazed at companies that approach me for a 10% discount for a 3-year contract. It's like,
right,
okay, I don't even know if you're going to be here next week, let alone, technology firms. So,
that's exactly right.
Well, and I think there's a lot too. I mean, we don't want to be on the bleeding edge here, and certainly spending time for you or I or, our peers to, learn every piece of new technology. But, with the kids, younger generation, some of whoever's the early adapters, let them prove it out and then bring it to you. And wow, I mean, it's like today. Lisa, where are you today?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio today.
Okay.
So, I was in Chicago yesterday.
And I'm in Silicon Valley, and you and I are talking, and we're over Skype. We're using some technology, extremely cost effective for really hundreds of dollars. You can create this kind of video where before, probably 6 or 7 years ago, we would have had backup satellite trucks at each of our locations to do the quality that we're doing now, and spend tens of thousands renting satellite time. And this is, if you can just, you don't have to stay way up, but using these tools has been phenomenal. How about in serving your clients?
Yeah, we have found that some of the best tools that we can use are crowdsourcing tools. So I have now access, especially in the US and Columbus, we have way more jobs than we have people. And then the folks that, are working aren't necessarily as skilled as I can get worldwide. So things like data mining, 3D rendering, virtual assistant, all of those types of things we use, Upwork and CrowdSpring and 99 Designs, creating logos. We now can do renderings for our clients that were about $2,400 a rendering for now $180 out of China.
Yeah,
It's just crazy. So now, instead of using it, just for the client for marketing, we're using it to actually better what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, why not spend that little extra? Because a little extra isn't that much. And I mean, I'm using predictive analytics. I mean, using these big data sources, and design, marketing, data. And I'm in Silicon Valley, and I'm actually the people are in Baton Rouge that I'm using. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just there's more cost effective, and they're really top people.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
excellent.
yeah.
So we're doing that with our clients. We're also doing a lot of virtual reality, starting to do that, which is interesting that you can design and then they can immerse themselves actually in the space. And then we're going to be translating that into helping seniors to maybe be on a dig with my daughter. She's got a little 3D camera, and my grandmother might be able to watch her or other people and upload it on Periscope, which
Yeah.
is another software that the kids are
Yeah,
using.
no, the Twitter owns it.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
just, I mean, there's so many different tools, and you don't need to have everything, but to pick a few that you can really use to differentiate yourself and add value, particularly whatever your clients are using or could use, that's easy, bring that. But what I was talking about clients, one of the things that this has been over a glass of wine, you and I've talked about this in the past, is choosing our clients wisely. And this comes with a little bit of experience. But, what does that mean to you, Lisa?
Yeah, when I first started the business, I pretty much would take any client that I could get because I was so scared I wouldn't be able to make payroll. And then as you get into it and you're 5 years in and then 10 years in, and before you know it, you're 18 years in, you get blessed enough to have the luxury to go, you know what? I don't want to work with a client that my test is I don't care how rich you are, I don't care how famous you are, I don't care where you travel. If I was in a crisis situation and I needed something done for my kids or my family, could I call you and you would be able to help me out? And now, I mean, they'd have to be in the area or whatever the case may
Hmm.
be. But if I feel that they could do that and I would do that for them, that's a good fit. We try to have right fit clients because we want to be in a marriage, we want to be a partnership. We don't want to be a commodity or a vendor. There's too much work out there to have that kind of relationship if you really know what your mission is.
Well, and I totally agree. I mean, this is one where, and it's easier said as you have success to do this. But one of the reasons why we're having success is we do it. Because when you choose the wrong clients, the amount of effort that you put in to try to keep them satisfied and really understand what they don't understand and everything else, versus where you really have a true partnership, you're kind of building off each other and for that great good. I mean, it's really fun. It's what business should be.
It is, and we work a lot now. If you love what you do, you end up spending a little bit more time than 40 hours a week, I think. So you ought to spend it with people that you enjoy.
Yeah, no, and it's something that, to deliver real value to people you enjoy doesn't get better. Let me change and go into a different segment because I want to go to it. We mentioned it before, but it's the book of the day. And Lisa, what I do is, I ask entrepreneurs, what their favorite book, but if somebody's just written a book, I don't give them a choice. Their favorite book has to be theirs. And, I'm going to put it up on the screen on Amazon. And I honestly, I apologize. I didn't know you wrote this, so I will be downloading it and taking a look at it. But I mean, it looks really impressive. I love the cover. It's not, when you think of senior living, that's not the cover. The future is here. Senior living reimagined. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. My parents were very disturbed by the cover, by the way. But it kind of symbolizes where we're going is that just as LEDs have, very much changed where our lighting has gone, lighting was the technology besides the microchip. It was, it made it so that we could work in factories and that people could be, read books at night and be schooled, and lighting changed a lot of things. And I basically go through a little history lesson of where technology has been. Also acknowledge the fact that I think we think seniors can adapt, yet they have adapted to more technology. My grandmother has seen the Model T, the airplane, radio, TV, the internet, cell phones. She's seen everything. And she just rolls with it. So I think seniors are way more apt to adapt. And I go into, kind of details on, I was blessed enough to interview the top industrial designers for GE and where they're going with appliances and how they're going to help folks out. And it's really interesting what they have to say. And then Corning Glass and Philips Lighting, Peter Diamandis, um, printing, 3D printing food and dentures and hearing aids and prosthetics, data mining and artificial intelligence. Very, very shortly here, which I would say already, you have the bionic person.
Yeah,
You know, it's a merge between, electronics and technology, and we don't really want to admit it, but it's coming whether you're old or young. The implants are there and how we work and assisting our muscles just to be able to be stronger just with a little bit of stimulation.
well,
So that takes away wheelchairs, and then you're able to able body walk anywhere you want.
and can your grandmother drive now?
No,
No.
she's 94.
Okay.
Actually, she was a lady, a Southern Belle, and so she
Oh,
never
she never drove.
she
Okay.
never drove. Um, and she's got a little bit of Alzheimer's dementia. So we're
Mhm.
studying what we can do with her, but anything from bidet toilets to cameras. We do the Piper camera, but Lowe's has one called Iris. Other folks have one where we can turn it on, check on her, and safety mechanisms. So we're trialing all these things out, seeing what we can do. It's really, really interesting when we start to study patterns and data mining, and then you do healthcare that's particular to you, John,
Mhm.
versus every other man your age, how much better you can be.
No, it is. I mean, there's so much going on. I did go down to Peter's human longevity clinic and my wife and I went down and we did the full genetic test and all that stuff. And it's, it's a small percent now that they can actually, make the cocktails and the drugs and so on. But I mean, this is racing ahead so quickly. I'm imagining for my dad, who's 86 and in pretty good health, but not quite as mobile. He's fortunate, mine's 100% there. He, I worry he lives out in the country. It's a tougher setting. We've got a great person that's making sure the stuff that he can't do anymore is being done, but he loves being mobile.
Hmm.
And my stepmom's 89, and boy, I'm hoping Elon Musk and the rest of the guys, whoever gets the cars to get to that level, or maybe it's Uber still, and kind of the combination, but more in the country setting. But it's really a great time to be alive.
It is a fantastic time, and I find that this might be simple, but just the connection. So being able to have, just like we're Skyping right now, my kids connect with my grandmother, where if I could teach her how to work that and I turn it on for her and I put the
Hmm.
earbuds in, even though she doesn't have a hearing aid, she's completely zoned in and connected.
Oh yeah.
And that kind of joy changes how long somebody can live, and changes what they want to do and how engaged they are. So, it really is anything from an exoskeleton to the refrigerator, notifying you that your mom hasn't eaten in the last 12 hours because she hasn't opened it up.
Yeah, no, I just, it's hard to imagine, and that's why we have people like you imagining each of these areas, because you got to bring it together. And the quality of life, is, if nothing else, you should take care of yourself. Everybody watching this or listening, because you're going to live longer, very
Exactly.
likely, and be able to take advantage of all this. And we want to have bring the body along in pretty good shape to be able to enjoy this stuff. Lisa, I'm going to put up your website and show
Okay.
your business. Tell us a little bit about the business and what's here. And, I'm not sure we'll have anybody that's working in this, exact space, but if they were, how they might reach out to you.
Right. Well, you more than happy to reach out to me at our website and my email, which is lcini, CINI, at mosaicdesignstudio.com. And you'll also be able to, very shortly, I'll have my own website that ties to the book. That's supposed to come online in about a week or so. Um, we work all over the world. Um, we're I guess we are kind of charting the way on how this is going to be. We do everything from kind of advising our clients on pro forma development and how what the numbers they need to have to be able to make something successful. So we work with a lot of REITs and that type of thing, to somebody that just wants to invest. It's an incredibly great investment. And then, coming forward, we're going to be moving forward with how then could you handle something in your home, and really connecting the technology that allows you, John, to stay in your home longer. And let's say, it's not an age thing, but you need to have a knee replacement. Well, what can I do to make my life better? Those type of products, and bringing that to you.
Yeah, no, it's so great, and this is that great time to be alive. Let me kind of wrap up in the key takeaways here, and sum up the lessons learned. I mean, number one, Lisa and I are totally committed to lifelong learning. This is how we grow, and it's an exponential, and you can hear kind of Lisa's progress. I've shared mine along the way, and we've had so many other fellow entrepreneurs. And if you're not doing this, you're missing out. Second is being clear on your mission. You heard how Lisa's used her unique ability to really get very focused and make a difference, not only in her client's life, but her teammates, her family, and her community. And that's so important. And then simple technology. We don't need to spend a fortune. I have a virtual business. I'm in Silicon Valley. Global headquarters is a pool house. And I have enterprise level software on everything we do. We've got about 45 people working in our businesses. And it's just amazing how cost effective what we can do today, and what's being built for it. And then my favorite, Lisa, is choose your clients well. We're looking for partnerships. And one of the things you go, well, I'll do that when I really hit that number of success. No, do it before, and that's how you're going to hit that number of success. Lisa, I want to thank you profusely for joining me. I know you're out there making a difference, and wish you the best of continued success. For all our listeners and viewers, go to AES Nation. I've got the website right above me, and go. Make sure to go there. We'll have the transcription, all the links that Lisa and I talked about, and your clients, really your teammates, everybody's counting, and particularly your family too, and you. There's so much of a great life ahead if you take action on this. Lisa, thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Exceptional, remarkable breakthroughs. AESNation.com.